Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, I'm going to step right into the role of your personal career coach. We are going to tackle that intense anxiety, the overwhelming pressure, and honestly, the utter uncertainty of graduation season. Because if you're watching this right now, there's a really good chance you're feeling the heavy weight of a massive life transition. Well, we're going to break down exactly why you're feeling this way, and more importantly, how we can fix it together. Okay, so let's just dive right into that terrible feeling. If you're staring at your phone right now and feeling completely left out, I want to tell you something right out of the gate. Your anxiety is incredibly valid, but the information driving that anxiety, it's totally flawed. You might feel like you're already miles behind in a race that just started, but I promise you, the race you're looking at doesn't actually exist the way you think it does. Let's start with part one, the mid-May comparison trap and why graduation season hurts so much. Every single year, right around mid-May, your entire feed suddenly transforms into this endless, scrolling wall of exciting announcements from your peers. Boom, job offer. Boom, grad school acceptance, competitive fellowships. And honestly, if you don't have a firm next step locked in yet, it feels terrible. It feels exactly like you're standing on the outside of an exclusive party that absolutely everyone else got an invitation to. The comparison is just constant, and it lands really, really hard. Look, I want to reassure you that the shame and the panic you're experiencing are very real. As a coach, I see this every single spring without fail. Students finish the semester, watch their peers announce these incredible next steps, and feel progressively worse about their own lives with every single post. But guess what? The data driving those feelings is a complete illusion. You're making judgments based on terrible data. Which brings us to Section 2, the highlight reel illusion, and uncovering the silent majority. Here is the absolute trap we fall into. When you look online, you end up comparing your full, messy, highly uncertain reality to a tiny, incredibly vocal fraction of people who just happen to have good news right at this exact moment. But the actual reality? The vast majority of your peers are completely invisible. They're the silent majority. They are quietly scrolling, feeling just as anxious and still figuring things out exactly like you are. Their silence is what makes the gap look so much wider than it actually is. Think about it like this. Scrolling through LinkedIn or Instagram graduation announcements right now is literally like attending an awards ceremony, looking only at the stage and assuming everyone in the entire world just won a massive trophy. You're only seeing the winners. You aren't seeing the rest of the room. Your sample size is entirely biased towards success. Let's dig into the actual mechanics of this in Section 3, the science of scrolling and why your feed makes you so anxious. To prove to you that this isn't just a personal failing or some lack of willpower on your part, we have to look at the psychological mechanism at play. It's called upward social comparison. This is the process where we compare ourselves to people we perceive as doing better than us. And here's the kicker. This mechanism kicks into absolute overdrive when we feel vulnerable. When you lack certainty about your own future, your brain desperately scrambles for markers of where you should be. And unfortunately, it looks up at the most curated, successful examples it can possibly find. And we actually have the hard science to back this up. A brand new 2025 study published in Frontiers in Psychology confirms that passive use, meaning just watching and scrolling without actively posting anything yourself, actively damages your mental health. It's strongly linked to that upward social comparison we just talked about, which completely spikes your anxiety and self-doubt. What's even worse is that it actually weakens your perceived social connection. You end up feeling more isolated. Plus, the study noted that this effect dramatically intensified specifically during periods of uncertainty, like graduating without a plan. This is a massive trap I see students fall into all the time. You might think scrolling is actually helping you figure out where you stand in the job market, right? You tell yourself, oh, I'm just doing research. I'm just seeing what kinds of jobs are out there. But it is really just a harmful habit dressed up as research. It feels purposeful, but it is not giving you accurate information about how you're doing relative to your peers. You're literally just making yourself feel worse. Let's ground this with a real-world example in Section 4, Dev's story, a very relatable case study. So let me tell you about a student named Dev who came into my coaching office last week. He was feeling exactly how you might be feeling right now. Dev had just graduated. He actually had a part-time job that he genuinely liked, but he didn't have a firm long-term plan locked in yet. Well, over the week, it seemed like half his friend group had landed these highly competitive jobs and plastered them all over the internet. His feed was just a wall of announcements. Because of this, Dev felt incredibly ashamed. He sat in my office and said, "Everyone seems to know what they're doing, except me." He was totally convinced he was a complete failure. But through our coaching session, Dev had this profound aha moment. He realized he was unfairly comparing his own messy, complicated, and highly uncertain internal reality to the perfectly polished, curated outsides of his peers. He wasn't behind at all. He was just part of the quiet majority. He was comparing his insides to everyone else's outsides. So what do we do about it? Section 5, your new action plan and replacing the comparison loop. Now that we know these platforms are literally designed to show you attention-grabbing announcements rather than accurate data about your peers, let's equip you with a real strategy. First things first, stop the passive scrolling. Just hit pause. Second, carve out 20 minutes of complete, uninterrupted quiet time. And third, grab a pen and physically write out what you actually want your next 6 months to look like for you. When Dev tried this 20-minute reflective writing exercise, it completely shifted his energy away from everyone else's highlight reels and back to his own goals. And he felt vastly better than he had all week. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one massive, vital question. What do you actually want, given what you know about yourself? It's time to stop asking where you stand in some imaginary race against other people and start asking where you actually want to go. Take that 20 minutes for yourself today and write it down. You aren't behind. You're just at the starting line of your own unique path. So, where are you going to let it take you?